and I think this is working again. This is 4 tracks. One more time. Figured I'd do a video log again and look like a fool. Wear the GoPro on my head in the middle of downtown traffic. I guess you say downtown. Why the other video logs? It's been a while since I had one. Yeah, it has, and actually I've done some few of them, but I never put them up. Kind of pointless, but I don't know. Main issue was internet connection. Been kind of crap at my house. Other issues, well, at the time, Eufaula, well, a place I worked for, ended up having some issues with. Stopped paying for my schooling. It degraded into I got sick. More issues going on with work. Granddad got sick. Family was going through some heavy stuff. Nobody died. It's just a lot of, like usual, money issues and stuff right there, and just not feeling that great and moving back and forth. And everybody's been on kind of on edge. And it's not good when your family mainly already kind of has small issues on their own, and other stuff kind of piles on, and they kind of become more secluded. And it's never a good thing. So it's been a while since last talked, and kind of talking about a little bit everything on the sun. Really don't know where. Honestly, I don't know. I don't feel like talking what I really wanted to talk about that I was kind of thinking of, which was, you know what? Let's go ahead and talk about it. We'll get this out of the way, and we'll kind of lead on into it. Well, some of you kind of who sees this, I guess, blog or journal or whatever that I do, you can kind of tell I have some issues, to say the least, and a lot of them have come to head, and I'll be straight up, I have been depressed. I have been in a bad way for the past 6 months and probably a year. Yeah, some things kind of get a little bit better here and there, and they as they should and as they will, but I have never been to this point of depression or anything else in my life. And I've had it before. I've had a lot of different things, had a lot of issues that have happened and brought me down, but never where I've been. And never have I been to the point before, I should say, to where something could be could happen and become something that was never an option become an option. And I'm shameful to admit that, but I might as well be on. If I'm being honest with a video camera, let's be honest with myself. But yeah, so it's been a hard time, and of course, like everybody else, everybody does go through hard times and such. But it's just been a thing, and it's been something I have never dealt with before, and become so heavy, and I don't know how to work with it. And I'd like to find a way to manage it. So I guess I'll restart. Hello, my name is 4 Tracks. You know my actual name. It's not hard to find out if you really want to know who this person is. And I am depressed, and I suffer from, believe it or not, I hate to say it, PTSD. I guess we'll start with how or whys of it. I really don't know where it came from. I will say where this, a lot of the stress and a lot of this stuff and a lot of the issues that I've been having with, I will tell you about the calls that I've been through that where they stress from, and maybe we can find some insight. And I like this to go out to some other first responders, and maybe just people in general that have dealt with some kind of rough event, to kind of talk about and talk some dialogue and figure it out. And I'm not going to give some kind of trigger warning bull crap or something, whatever. I don't know. So let us begin. Like I said, whoever's seen the little journal I posted, anybody that kind of knows me, I've been a part of EMS, fire service, public service for most of my adult life, I guess you could say. Since I was 17 years old when I joined the fire department, I've been a part of it. And my first call, I've been through many calls and a lot of neat things, a lot of, just stuff you wouldn't expect to see. But that's neither here nor there. I guess we'll go ahead and just dive off into where I think everything started. There was a call. I think I just got out of advanced EMT, because I went straight and got my certifications right after high school. I mean, I dived off into it. I don't know how in the world I got the money, but you know, I freaking worked my butt off. I worked at the Piggly Wiggly, I volunteered, I did a lot of things. I hit the ground running when I got out of high school. And I went and got my basic. I ran a few calls with Headland here and there, show up, you know, all gung-ho into it. I went back, somehow got some money to go back for advanced EMT to expand and keep moving forward. And how I got that, I guess I can go with a story next time on how that happened. And you know, just never give up, and you know, always be a man of your word, if you can always learn something from me. If I recall correctly, the time it happened, it was 2011. I want to. It was a cold morning. So it makes me want to think it was late 2011 or early 2012 when this happened. I remember that weekend really well because I had class. I think it was the start of a little bit. I can't remember. You know what? I can't remember when it was, but I just know it was a cold day. And if I ever get around these kind of stuff that kind of, I guess I will say will trigger the event. There's only a few times that it will trigger, and I'll lead on to it. But it was a rough weekend. I remember I got off work from the Piggly Wiggly grocery store I worked at, because like I said, I was 18 at the time, and I got home, I got called and said, hey, we need some people to work tonight if you're interested. I'm like, yeah, of course, I work it. I want to do something. I want to, you know, I want to get some money and be able to work for it. You know, I'm a brand new EMT. Let's get on with this. I'm cool with it. So I rushed home after work, got a shower, got rest, get ready to go there. A fire call came out. So we went over there, went to the fire call, did my thing, and that was an interesting call in itself, because a gentleman was cooking food at a little apartment complex. He laid down to take a nap, ended up passing away in his sleep on that couch, and the food he was cooking and warming up got hot and caught fire. Smoked up the residents, so when they got on scene for that structure fire, including myself, because I came from my house, I didn't come from the station, they were doing CPR on this gentleman, and they sent him off in the ambulance, and me and a few other guys, we were finishing up the fire, which wasn't major, no damage. It was only damage to the resident, smoke damage really. Everybody else was fine, but it was so amazing. Everybody thought, you know, he kind of passed from smoke inhalation. No, it was an older gentleman, and he just simply passed away from just old age. And it was weird because he was cooking, but luckily, you know, his smoke alarms worked, it alerted people and got it squared away. So we worked that, you know, got to the station. We were busy most of that night, running calls. We had to go up to Abbeville once or twice. We finally got back about the station about midnight, and I laid down. I was really tired, but you know, excited for doing it. Really tired, laid down, and I was sick as all get out because of the cold and having to leave my house for that fire call, and going back into the cold. It got me sick really bad. So when we got back to the station, I passed out as much as I could, and it felt like I was just asleep for about like a minute when this tone came out for another call in Abbeville, near where I live, another city over. So, hey, speaking of Headland, there's one of our chief vehicles, well, the chief vehicle. But sorry about that, I'm just kind of getting distracted. We go on this call to Abbeville, and another one comes out like immediately after it. And usually you run 2 people at the station for 2 ambulances, total of 4 people for 2 crews. And I go on with the medic. We're hauling to Abbeville when this other call came in, and the lady said, and the dispatcher said, I'm still on the line at, you know, this residence. Person has been shot, attempted robbery, PD is en route. Have 1 victim gunshot wound. The medic I was with, he took a decision and decided, okay, we're canceling this call, we're terminating this. because we got back in touch with the county over that has their own ambulance service that we're going to, because we run mutual aid with them. They said, yeah, we can get a crew for this one, y'all stay in town. So we turn around, go by the station and pick up a gentleman to put on our ambulance, because the other person that was supposed to be on the crew actually had to go by his house in the evening to check on his kid. So, you know, we actually only had 3 people, so we all piled up on this ambulance. And I remember I was driving the ambulance, the medic was in the seat with me. The lieutenant I was with, he was in the back behind me, and he's, you know, saying, hey, remember when we go on scene, focus on your job and everything else. Because I was brand new, I was amped up, very excited, going searching for this stuff. And we get on scene. It actually was near my house. And the more close we got to, we were trying to get some information. And if you're from a small town, you understand this. If you go by directions and go to different things, you'll be told, you know, hey, that's such and such houses, this is such and such here. Turn out, you know, their houses, or, you know, Billy Joe's house over here on the left, and then you take a right where the old house got burnt down about 20 years ago. If you're from a small town, you understand that, because that's just the way they get around. Even in big cities, it's like that. So we go over, and as we're getting there, we're gathering information, it's like, okay, it's the hay farm. There's only one person in the town that owns a hay farm, and we're like, okay, I think it's him, especially being early in the morning, because it's like 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock, the sun was about to come up, and it would make sense, him being out there. So we get out there on scene. PD was there before us, looking around, no persons in the area. Gentleman's truck wide open, door wide open, stuff blowing around, no tracks or anything. It was hard to see, and I was glad, because I grabbed my turnout coat that still had my flashlight on it. We split up and we started looking in that cold morning, and we did so many passes on the ambulance, looked around, we couldn't find anything. We're trying to call back the number to the cell phone where it came from, but all the calls never go through. Everybody was having to get contact with the patient, nothing. When we split up, I went over towards the back barn on the back half of the property, and it was just me. I had a radio and my flashlight, no equipment on me, and I'm looking through. The sun was a little bit coming up a little bit more at the time. I looked a little bit more to the right, and I seen a mass laying on the ground. My light was very dim. I couldn't really see it that great, so I don't know what possessed me to run, but I ran up to it, and as I got close right there, my light perfectly shined on the face, and blood was pouring out of the patient's nose. It felt like an eternity before I grabbed my radio and called, but I know it was only like maybe a half a second or something. So I get on the phone, I'm like, I found the patient. We're over here on the back of the barn. I found the patient, I'm checking. I go over to him, I grab my hand, and I grab onto him. He's cold. Blood is just poured out of his nose, pooling on the ground behind him. I don't see any kind of wounds. I feel for a pulse, there's no pulse. He's cold. And just when I'm about to start CPR, my hand grabs my back and says, hey, go get the ambulance. It was my lieutenant. So I get up, rush back to the ambulance. I remember I'm rushing in my boots, my turnout coat flapping, going back to the ambulance, hitting these holes and everything else. I don't care, I'm just rushing to the ambulance. Because when I saw that face, I recognized exactly who it was. And we get over to the ambulance. I drive over there. I'm grabbing stuff. I'm grabbing the cardiac monitor, jump bag. When the medic and the lieutenant, they give me the signal to stop, hold up. He's dead. We're not going to work him. So I'm like, okay. I'm trying to calm myself down. I didn't so much get amped up or freaked out when I saw the person. I was just still in that mode, like, we're going to do something, we're going to save life, because you get told that in basic EMT, you kind of like, okay, you're going to do everything. I mean, it's and all that. I was thinking we were about to be legit, and of all people to be legit to, would be somebody I knew and somebody that deserved it, and actually somebody that I went to school with, and maybe might make something work. But he had died or expired before we found him. When they put the monitor on him, there was a systole. He had no pulse, didn't know how long he was down. he had a gunshot wound to, I can't remember, but I believe to his chest. And I remember sitting in the ambulance for the longest time, for 2 hours. I'm just sitting in that damn ambulance because we had a call for investigation. We called the state. They're checking for roadblocks and everything else because it came out as attempted robbery originally. So, and I remember I was sitting in the ambulance and I seen his son pull up, and I see his other son pull up. To this gentleman that we went to, I actually graduated with his youngest son. Me and him went to school together. Knew him pretty well. Wasn't really friends. I'd say more like acquaintances, or maybe less than that. We went to a small high school. I had a graduating class of maybe 50 or maybe less. You knew everybody. You knew everybody in town. You know their parents. They pretty much know you, regardless of your status and all other bullshit. And I heard the most weird, the strangest cry from him, and he looked at me because I went with my medic to go tell the family what had happened and what we found, and he just looked at me with this pleading look, you know, this ain't true or whatever, or, I mean, it was just some kind of foreign look that I still haven't been able to place to this day. And just that crying, that sounds that I heard from being out there for so long, even sitting in an ambulance didn't drown it out. And I just stood there, didn't know what else to say. I mean, what do you say? I mean, you get told some stuff in basic, but I mean, I mean, seriously, what do you say to some people you went to, and much less the family gone to beforehand and all this other stuff. And it was very tough with that. That night, I couldn't sleep. And actually for a few days after that, I didn't sleep. Every time I would close my eyes, it'd take me back to me standing on that field, and that cold wind, just silence. My flashlight turning to the right just enough to see that mass. And then I look and I see his face. Blood covering his mouth, poured down from his nose, pulling out behind his ears and neck and everything else, and just laying there motionless.